one more thing about school is the question of funding, right? So usually the F2 dependent, whether a child or a spouse, would not qualify for certain levels of federal aid or state aid or those kinds of things. Usually they will restrict the funds that you can access as an F1 dependent to only private sources. And those ones are sometimes very difficult to come by. So for most F2 dependents going to school on a part-time, you mostly would have to pay for things personally out of your own pocket, and that can be a big hindrance to people. But people have done it, and so it is possible. And I know there are other ways around it, depending on where you're going to go to school and the options available for funding. One other advantage is that the extent of the time, the duration of the visa, is tied to the F1 primary applicant. Because you are F2, and you are coming to the US because your F1 applicant is filing on your behalf, how long you can stay in the United States is dependent on how long the F1 student is staying, or your F1 dependent is staying in the United States. So if your F1 dependent is staying in the United States for like 5 years doing a PhD, then you also get to stay in the United States for 5 years, as long as the student is there. If the student renews and continues to be a student, then all of you are going to be valid, and you're going to be in status, and you're going to be in the United States for that long. That's an advantage that other visa categories don't have.